So we haven't gotten a concrete plan yet. We have heard that the president is approaching this in a more methodical fashion than we saw with health care reform. What do you think is going to come out of these discussions? What's tax reform actually going to look like?
Well, obviously, one of their big emphasis is going to be on growth and how do we make the lives of average people better. So I think that'll be a key part of it. And clearly, we need to grow in the business community and make sure that we can relocate our companies and jobs here in the United States and not have them move overseas for tax purposes. So I think modernizing our tax code, making it simpler, making it fair, and I think you might see a middle-class tax cut potentially as part of this package. But there's obviously a lot to be done, and we're all going to be watching very carefully. This fall is going to be an important time to see whether they can kind of get the kind of consensus to move an issue this important forward.
I mean, that's a big question, isn't it, if they're going to get this kind of consensus, because consensus has been extraordinarily difficult to come by, even by the standards of Washington. Where are some areas of commonality that you see, not just between Republicans and Democrats, perhaps, but between the various wings of the Republican Party itself?
Well, I mean, you obviously see a lot of commonality on the individual side, lowering rates, reducing the number of rates, increasing the standard deduction, and you actually see a lot of commonality on the international side, finding a way to bring the dollars that are trapped overseas back to the United States on a regular basis, modernizing our international tax system, so that we can compete with the rest of the world. Obviously, the biggest issue that kind of unites everybody is a lower tax rate. And I think to the extent that they can emphasize those issues, those are issues that not only bring Republicans together, but they bring Republicans and Democrats together.
At this point, all of this still seems to be a wish list rather than an actual piece of legislation. Already the deadline for this, or the goal for it getting done, has been pushed back several times. Can it even get done in 2017 at this point?
Well, I think that there are a lot of competing issues that are Hurricane Harvey, the latest, that are really facing Congress this fall. I think they can make significant progress this fall. I wouldn't be surprised if the actual signing of the bill or enacting into law doesn't occur until sometime in early 2018. But if they make enough progress this fall, I think they have the ability to move it early next year.
And you talked about how there are sort of two issues at play here. There's tax cuts on the one hand, and there's a true tax reform on the other. How likely is it that reform will actually get done here rather than a smaller scale tax cut?
Well, one of the things about reform is that you can actually, the economy of the United States is huge, to use a word. It's a large economy, and to impact it, you need to do more rather than less. So I think if the object is growth and trying to create jobs and increase incomes, you're going to want to do more. But if that's not possible, if for some reason Congress can't do it, certainly anything you can do in the tax reform area will be helpful. It may not just be as robust and have as large an impact as it might otherwise have had.